For nearly 70 years, the Pacific Ocean was an American lake. From the ashes of World War II to the end of the Cold War, the United States Navy and Air Force operated with absolute impunity. They owned the sky. They owned the sea. The belief in Washington was absolute. No nation on Earth possessed the industrial capacity, the technological sophistication, or the sheer audacity to challenge American air dominance. The F-15 Eagle, the F-22 Raptor, the carrier strike groups, these were the symbols of an empire that could not be touched. But history has a way of punishing arrogance. While America spent 2 decades fighting insurgents in the deserts of the Middle East, distracted by low-tech wars against enemies with AK-47s, a new superpower was quietly rising in the East. They watched, they studied, they copied, and then they built. In January 2011, the global balance of power shifted in a single afternoon. As the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates, sat in Beijing for high-level meetings, thinking he was there to lecture the Chinese on military transparency, the People's Liberation Army Air Force rolled out of black, wedge-shaped aircraft onto a runway in Chengdu. It roared into the sky, a direct and deliberate message to the United States. It was the J-20 Mighty Dragon. In that moment, the era of American invincibility ended. The monopoly on stealth was broken. For the first time in history, the United States faced a peer competitor, a nation that could field a 5th-generation stealth fighter designed specifically to kill American air power. Today, the J-20 is no longer a prototype. It is being mass-produced in numbers that terrify intelligence analysts. Across the ocean, the United States has bet its entire future on the F-35 Lightning II, a trillion-dollar flying supercomputer that critics call a disaster and supporters call the deadliest machine ever built. We stand on the precipice of a new Cold War, one that will not be fought with tanks in the Fulda Gap, but with stealth fighters over the vast, unforgiving waters of the South China Sea. If these two titans meet in combat, it will not just be a dogfight. It will be a clash of philosophies, a battle between speed and information, between mass production and precision technology. The question is no longer if they will fight, but who will survive when they do. To understand the threat, we must first look into the heart of the dragon. The Chengdu J-20 is a machine born of necessity and paranoia. Chinese military strategists looked at the American way of war and realized they could not win a fair fight. They saw how the U.S. military operates. It relies on a massive network of support aircraft, tankers to refuel the fighters, AWACS planes to see the enemy, and surveillance drones to gather data. The Chinese realized that the American fighter jets, the F-22s and F-35s, were the tips of the spear, but the tankers and radars were the shaft. If you break the shaft, the spear is useless. The J-20 was designed with a specific anti-access/area denial doctrine in mind. It is a massive aircraft, significantly longer and heavier than the F-22 Raptor. Its sheer size is its defining feature. Why build such a large stealth fighter? The answer is physics. A larger airframe means more internal fuel. More fuel means longer range. The J-20 is not built to defend Beijing. It is built to fly hundreds of miles out into the Pacific, pushing the threat line far away from the Chinese coast. It is designed to hunt the hunters. Visually, the J-20 is a Frankenstein's monster of stolen secrets and brilliant innovation. Its nose and canopy bear a striking resemblance to the F-22 Raptor, likely the result of years of cyber espionage and data theft that targeted American defense contractors. But moving back, the design diverges. The J-20 features a delta canard configuration, a large triangular wing at the back and 2 small movable wings or canards near the cockpit. This design choice has been the subject of intense debate among Western aviation experts for over a decade. In the world of stealth, moving surfaces are death. Every time a canard moves, it reflects radar waves, momentarily breaking the aircraft's invisibility. Critics argue that the J-20 could never be a true stealth fighter because of this flaw. However, recent analysis suggests a terrifying alternative. The Chinese engineers knew the canards would compromise stealth from certain angles, but they accepted that trade-off for one specific reason: agility at supersonic speeds. The J-20 is designed to fly fast and high. The canards provide extra lift and control, allowing the massive jet to turn and maneuver even when it is heavy with fuel and missiles. Furthermore, the Chinese have developed advanced software to minimize the radar reflection of these canards, keeping them aligned with the radar source whenever possible. It is a calculated risk, prioritizing aerodynamic performance and range over the absolute stealth of American designs. But the J-20 has always had a broken heart. For the first decade of its life, this futuristic fighter was powered by outdated, underpowered Russian Al-31 engines. It was like putting a lawnmower engine inside a Ferrari. The jet struggled to reach its potential, lacking the ability to supercruise, to fly at supersonic speeds without using fuel-guzzling afterburners. This was the Achilles heel of the Chinese Air Force. But the dragon is healing. Recent intelligence confirms that China has successfully developed and fielded the domestic WS-10C engine and is nearing completion of the WS-15, a powerhouse engine that rivals the best American technology. With the WS-15, the J-20 will finally have the thrust to match its menacing looks, allowing it to patrol vast distances at Mach 1.5, closing the gap with the U.S. Air Force faster than anyone predicted. Across the Pacific, the United States has taken a completely different path. While China focused on speed, range, and raw aerodynamic performance, America bet everything on information. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II is the most expensive weapon system in human history, a program plagued by delays, cost overruns, and technical glitches that became a national scandal. It is slower than the J-20. It has a shorter range. It cannot turn as tightly or climb as fast. On a top trumps card, the F-35 looks like a loser. But comparing the F-35 to the J-20 using speed and maneuverability is like comparing a smartphone to a muscle car. They are not the same thing. The F-35 was designed with singular, revolutionary philosophy. In the 21st century, the pilot who knows more wins. The F-35 is covered in sensors. The Distributed Aperture System, DAS, consists of 6 infrared cameras embedded around the aircraft, stitching together a seamless 360-degree view of the world. The pilot wears a helmet that costs $400,000, which projects his video feed directly into their eyes. If the pilot looks down, they do not see the floor of the cockpit. They see the clouds, the ocean, and the enemy below. They can see through the plane itself. This technology, combined with the APG-81 ASA radar, creates something called sensor fusion. In older jets, a pilot had to look at a radar screen, then a separate map, then a threat warning screen, and try to build a mental picture of the battle. The F-35 does all of that for them. Its computers absorb gigabytes of data from the radar, the cameras, and electronic warfare suites, analyze it, identify the threats, and present a simple, clear picture to the pilot. It highlights the enemy in red and the friendlies in green. It identifies the type of missile being fired and recommends the best way to dodge it. It is a god mode for air combat. But the F-35's true power lies in its ability to share this view. Via the Multifunction Advanced Data Link, MADL, a flight of 4 F-35s effectively operates as a single organism. If one F-35 sees an enemy, all of them see it instantly. They can share targets, coordinate attacks, and even guide missiles fired by other platforms. An F-35 can fly silently deep into enemy territory, spot a target, and send the coordinates to a destroyer ship hundreds of miles away. The destroyer fires a missile, and the F-35 guides it to the impact. The F-35 doesn't just fight. It quarterbacks the entire war. This is a kill web, a concept so advanced that Chinese strategists struggle to replicate it. The J-20 is a hunter. The F-35 is a hive mind. The capabilities of these jets mean nothing without context. The war between the Dragon and the Lightning will not be fought in a vacuum. It will be fought over the vast, empty expanse of the Pacific Ocean. This geography dictates the strategy. The distance between U.S. bases in Guam, or Japan, and the Taiwan Strait is immense. This is where the tyranny of distance hurts the United States. American F-35s, with their shorter combat radius, are tethered to their aerial refueling tankers. They must refuel constantly to stay in the fight. This is exactly what the J-20 J-20 was built to exploit. In a hypothetical conflict, Chinese commanders would likely not send their J-20s to dogfight the F-35s. That would be playing to American strengths. Instead, they would use the J-20's massive range and stealth to loop around the front lines, searching for the KC-135 Stratotankers and E-3 Sentry AWACS planes that support the American fleet. These large, non-stealthy support aircraft are the lungs of the U.S. Air Force. If the J-20s can slip past the F-35 screen and launch their long-range PL-15 missiles at the tankers, the American fighters will be left stranded, running out of fuel over the open ocean. It is a strategy of assassination, not brawling. The PL-15 missile itself is a nightmare for the Pentagon. It is an air-to-air missile with a reported range of over 200 kilometers, utilizing a dual-pulse rocket motor and an active radar seeker. This outranges the standard American AMRAAM missiles. The J-20 can theoretically fire at American support aircraft before the F-35s can even get close enough to shoot back. This range advantage forces the U.S. to push its tankers further back, reducing the time its fighters can spend over the target area. The J-20 doesn't need to shoot down a single F-35 to win the air war. It just needs to cut the supply line. Let us imagine how this nightmare scenario unfolds. It is 0300 hours. Tensions over Taiwan have reached a breaking point. A massive cyber attack has blinded civilian satellites. The Pacific is dark. From air bases in mainland China, a Wolfpack of 12 J-20 Mighty Dragons takes off. They do not activate their radars. To emit radar is to shine a flashlight in a dark room. It reveals your position. Instead, they fly in total electromagnetic silence, relying on ground-based radars and data links to guide them toward the American fleet. Their target is not the carrier strike group itself. That is too well defended. Their target is the air wing. Hundreds of miles away, a flight of 4 U.S. F-35s is patrolling the outer perimeter of the fleet. They are also silent, their sensors passively soaking up electronic emissions. The F-35 pilots are tense. They know the enemy is out there, but the ocean is vast. Suddenly, the F-35's passive sensors pick up a faint anomaly. It's not a radar blip. It's a heat signature. The distributed aperture system has spotted the thermal friction of the J-20 speeding through the air at Mach 1.4. The computer categorizes a threat. Unknown contact. High speed. The F-35s fan out, widening their formation to create a larger sensing net. They use their encrypted data links to triangulate the position of the ghosts. The J-20s are still blind to the F-35's presence. The American jets have the advantage of better sensors. The F-35 flight lead makes a decision. He does not engage immediately. He knows the J-20s are hunting the tankers behind him. If he reveals his position now, he might get shot down by the J-20's wingmen. Instead, the F-35s act as forward observers. They relay the tracking data of the J-20s back to an Aegis destroyer floating on the surface below. The ship's vertical launch cells open, and SM-6 long-range missiles roar into the night sky. The J-20 pilots are suddenly alerted by their threat warning receivers. Missiles are inbound, but from where? Their radars show empty sky. Panic sets in. The J-20s break formation, dispensing chaff and flares, banking hard to evade missiles they cannot see. This is the moment the trap springs. As the J-20s maneuver to dodge the ship-launched missiles, they expose their bellies and sides, the least stealthy parts of their airframe, to the F-35s waiting in the shadows. The F-35s have achieved first look, first shot. They launch their AMRAAMs. The air fills with smoke and fire. But the Chinese are not defeated yet. The sheer number of J-20s begins to tell. For every 4 F-35s, China has sent 12 J-20s. They overwhelm the defensive screen. Some J-20s break through. They activate their massive ASA radars, flooding the sky with energy, searching for the tankers. They spot the lumbering KC-135s in the distance. PL-15 missiles slide out of their internal bays. The rockets ignite. The tankers have no chance. As the tankers explode in balls of fire, the F-35 pilots check their fuel gauges. They are low. Their gas station just burn down. They are hundreds of miles from the carrier. The hunter has become the hunted. The J-20s that survived the initial ambush now turn on the F-35s. In a close-range fight, the J-20's energy and speed give fighting chance, but the F-35 pilots use their helmet-mounted sights to fire missiles over the shoulder, killing dragons that are behind them. It is a chaotic, brutal mess of high-tech slaughter. This simulation reveals a terrifying truth. In a single battle, the superior technology of the F-35 allows it to inflict heavy casualties. But war is not a single battle. War is a grind. And this is where the balance shifts back to Beijing. The United States has a finite number of F-35s, and its industrial base is slow. Building a new F-35 takes months of precise, delicate assembly across a global supply chain. If America loses 20 jets in a day, it takes a year to replace them. China, on the other hand, is the world's factory. The J-20 is designed for mass production. Chengdu Aerospace Corporation has expanded its production lines, using pulse-line assembly methods borrowed from the auto industry. They are pumping out J-20s at a rate that is accelerating every year. In a long war of attrition, quantity has a quality all its own. Furthermore, the F-35 is a fragile beast. It requires pristine runways and constant maintenance. Its stealth coating is sensitive to salt water and humidity. The J-20, while complex, is operating from its home turf. It can land at dozens of bases across mainland China, refuel, rearm, and return to fight within hours. The American jets, operating from aircraft carriers or bombed-out island runways, will face logistical nightmares. If the F-35 is a Ferrari, the J-20 is a Ford F-150. Maybe not as sophisticated, but you can build 1 million of them, and they work when they are dirty. So, who wins the war for the Pacific? If we look only at the airframes, the F-35 Lightning II is the superior combatant. Its sensor fusion, stealth technology, and data integration are a generation ahead of the J-20. In a fair one-on-one duel, the F-35 pilot would likely see the J-20 first and kill it before the Chinese pilot ever touched the trigger. The flying computer is simply too smart. But the J-20 was never designed to fight fair. It was designed to fight strategically. It is a system buster. By targeting the support infrastructure, the tankers, the AWACS, the runways, the J-20 negates the F-35's advantages. It forces the U.S. Navy to operate further away, stretching its supply lines until they snap. The winner of this conflict will not be decided by who has the better jet. It will be decided by who can adapt faster. Can the U.S. Navy develop new, stealthy tankers and disperse its forces to survive the J-20 onslaught? Can China produce enough reliable engines to keep its massive fleet of J-20s in the air? The J-20 Mighty Dragon has done something no other aircraft has done since the Cold War. It has forced the United States to be afraid. It has ended the era of uncontested American dominance. The sky is no longer a sanctuary. It is a jungle, and in this jungle, there are now 2 apex predators circling each other. The F-35 sees everything. The J-20 reaches everywhere. One is the ultimate eye. The other is the ultimate reach. When the thunder of their engines finally meets over the Pacific, the world will hold its breath, because the outcome of that dogfight will decide the fate of the 21st century. The war has already begun in the factories and the design bureaus. The only question left is when the shooting starts. As we look at these 2 marvels of engineering, we are looking at 2 different visions of the future. One vision, the American one, believes that information is power, that seeing the enemy first is all that matters. The other vision, the Chinese one, believes that scale and range are power, that a large, powerful arm can crush a smart brain. History tells us that technology often wins battles, but logistics and geography win wars. The F-35 is a technological masterpiece of our time, but the J-20 is the geographical master of the Pacific. The scary part isn't what we know about these jets. It's what we don't know. We don't know how effective Chinese electronic warfare is. We don't know if the F-35 stealth holds up against new quantum radars. We are betting the lives of thousands of pilots on assumptions. Until the missiles fly, the F-22, F-35, and J-20 are just theories made of metal. But one thing is certain. The next time you look up at the sky and see a fighter jet, remember that the days of guaranteed safety are gone. The dragon has risen, and the lightning is waiting to strike.